Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Musical Talk. I am Nick Hudson. I'm sat here with Antonia. Hello, Antonia.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Welcome back to Musical Talk. It's been a very crazy summer and it's now autumn, so happy autumn. What have you been up to?
A lot of things over summer. We worked on a project together over summer, didn't we?
We did, yes. We did an orchestral medley of Les Miserables, which you performed with 4 of your friends in Italy. Tell us about that.
In Venice. Yeah, we performed in this amazing palace in Venice, right on the Grand Canal, which was decked out entirely like the barricades of Les Miserables, with like smoke billowing out of the building onto the canal. All the guests that attended were there in costume. It was amazing. It was because the building was like entirely lit with like candles and everything. It was literally
Sounds
like
really
stepping back in
safe.
time. But this is Italy. They don't care about health and safety,
Yeah.
bar some of the stage lighting that they put in. But it was like stepping back in time. It was amazing.
And this was in celebration of a wedding anniversary, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's such a random thing.
Les
to be
Mis are
involved
well
with.
known for their romantic songs of future love.
Yeah, but the people that it was for, they're completely obsessed with Les Mis. So they had like an entire Les Mis themed party. So all the guests were in costumes and we were there performing. It was really, really fun.
You should put some pictures on the Facebook page.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
So by the time this episode goes out, there will be pictures on the Facebook page. Yeah. It did look beautiful, and you look very good in your costume as well.
Thank you.
Because Les Mis isn't new to you, is it?
No, I've been involved with the Les Mis quite a lot over the years, but it was great to take it over. It was so funny that we're doing this French musical and there's like French flags hanging out of this massive palace in the middle of Italy. I wonder what the Italians thought. They must have thought, gosh, what's going on?
I will have to go back and see Les Mis, I think, because I did the track for the show, for your little show, and then I worked for a week with the kids I teach doing a little Les Mis version as well, so I was pretty Les Mis'd.
Les Mis'd out.
I'm always Les Mis'd out, but it experienced a lot of Les Mis over the summer, and I kind of want to go and see the show, and I do have some lovely friends in it, so I might go and see the show. I doubt you want to join me, do you?
I feel Les Mis'd out.
Yeah, you're
completely and utterly Les Mis'd out.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some television stuff going on because you're a massive fan of Strictly Come Dancing, aren't you?
It's just restarted, and it's that early stage of the competition where there are people that are standing out, where people obviously cannot dance to save their lives, which is quite fun to watch. But I really like watching the people that really can't dance to start with really improve. And it seems to me like over the last few years, there's been a lot of people on Strictly Come Dancing that can already dance, and it kind of like is making the fun of it a little bit. It's making it a bit less fun because I really like watching the people that really cannot dance learn how to dance. And there's a couple of people in there, like Debbie McGee, for example, who used to be a professional ballet dancer, and
had a ballet or has a ballet company.
had a ballet company for a few years. And then you've got Alexandra Burke, who was in Sister Act, and she's obviously been in some West End musicals,
and Brian Conley as well.
Yeah,
he's played Al Jolson,
although not the best dancing to start off with. It's just a shame, I think, but at the same time, ballroom is a massively different style to like musical theatre dancing or ballet, so they have the kind of like added task of trying to forget everything they already know. But these are people that they're still used to picking up a routine.
Would you say it's like trying to get opera singers to sing jazz all of a sudden?
Yeah, but at least they can hold a tune. I don't think it's fair because they can already pick up a routine. I think that's like remembering the steps is half the battle, and there are people that literally never danced before. My 2 people I really want to watch out for on the show are Johnny, who is the Paralympic athlete who is dancing with a prosthetic leg or on his blade. And he just did this amazing jive when he danced on his blade, which was absolutely incredible. And I felt so emotional watching it because it was so inspiring to watch someone who has a disadvantage be able to dance so well. And the other one is Susan Calman, because I love her already, and she's paired with Kevin, and he's really pushing her. He's not like letting her be the comedy act. He's actually pushing her to dance properly, and she's done really well already, so I'm excited to see what she's doing.
And also the thing with having musical theatre dancers on the show is ballroom's all about your partner as well, isn't it? And rarely in musical theatre, unless you're doing traditional kind of Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly stuff, you don't really have a partner, do you?
No, but
I know nothing about dance, so I'm kind of making this up as I go along. But I'm trying to engage in a conversation.
No. But at a basic level, you're right. Ballroom dancing, so that's not Latin, which is less partner based. Ballroom dancing is where you're in hold with somebody, but dance is about telling a story. You still have to be able to tell a story, and the people who have acted before will be also able to tell a story, you know, and also the dances on Strictly, you know, they have little sets and props and stuff. They try to do a little story, so the people that have acted before can actually do this. You know, they can act already. It's helpful for them. There is people on there who have never acted before, like Johnny, who's the athlete. He's never had to act before, so he's got like difficult things that he needs to learn to do, which there are other people on the show that can literally do stood on their head. So we
quite literally knowing that show.
Yeah, probably. They do the Charleston as well. There are musical theatre stars that I can imagine would be able to do the Charleston, and also a lot of that is you're not in dancing as a pair, you're dancing separately, and you have to be moving in sync
and mimic each other.
Yeah, which I think musical theatre dancers should be able to do. So I think they do have a massive advantage over the people who haven't danced before. I could see why they're sometimes in the show, because they have to unlearn stuff that they, you know, already know. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they do know how to pick up a routine, so I think it's a bit unfair.
So the first episode was famous, well, not famous, but it had a beautiful Bruce Forsyth tribute, didn't it? Because Bruce Forsyth was the host of Strictly for about 400 years, I would think, and we lost him this year.
Yeah, I think it was in late August.
Yeah, and an absolute British legend of entertainment for 40, 50, 60 years. And so tell us what they did on for that tribute.
Well, they showed clips of, obviously, Bruce on the show, and little routines and dances and stuff, and there was him singing Fly Me to the Moon, and then it cut to the live studio, and then the band joined in Fly Me to the Moon, and the dancers did a routine all based around that song, which was really, really nice, because I think it was nice that it was like Bruce singing it, and then it went to the live band.
And then they all ended on the classic Bruce Forsyth pose, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, which was nice. I'm glad they did something for Bruce, because they needed. I think they needed to.
Interestingly enough, a show I saw recently, Young Frankenstein, also had the Bruce Forsyth moment, which was a lovely bit, obviously added. Young Frankenstein is playing at the Garrick Theatre, and it's the kind of new musical for Halloween, I guess you could say, which isn't something we get to say very often on this show. And I saw it a couple of nights ago, still in previews. And it was a joyous, joyous evening. Very, very, very funny. The show had an interesting opening on Broadway 10 years ago now, and the fact that it's the same creative team behind the producers. Obviously, Mel Brooks doing the, and I use the term loosely, music, and the brilliant lyrics. He's a wonderful lyricist. Susan Stroman directing and choreographing. Doug Bestman doing the orchestrations. Glenn Kelly doing the dance arrangements, and dare I say, the other music. And I wish he'd get co-credit, but that's another discussion entirely. When the show opened on Broadway, the producers was a massive success. They did this massive version of Young Frankenstein, the film with Gene Wilder, put it on stage, massive sets, massive effects, and it absolutely bombed.
I don't know anything about this show.
They got very greedy with the ticket prices because they assumed we have a hit. Let's, do the same show again. You'll make more money with a hit than with a flop. So what they've done now is 10 years later, the creative team have met. They've rewritten some songs. They've cut some songs. They've snipped it, chopped it, tightened it up, and they put it on a very, very small stage. And it works really well. Now, I went with my friend Amy, she saw the original Broadway production. Mm-hmm. And she much preferred this version because the film, if you see it, it's made in black and white. It's like a Hammer House of Horror B movie, wobbly sets and all that kind of stuff. So it works better in this very vaudeville style production. Yeah. You would love it, Tonya, because there's a massive tap dance version of Putting on the Ritz.
Amazing.
Done by Frankenstein's monster.
That sounds amazing.
Which is all you need to know about that.
So I'm guessing it's based on Frankenstein.
So it's set in the 1950s in Transylvania. Mm-hmm. Frankenstein, who is Victor Frankenstein's great-great-grandson, is now a lecturer of brain neuroscience at some university in New York, and for hilarious reasons, his father dies and he has to go to the castle in Transylvania where he decides to make what he hopes to be a very intelligent creature turns out to be a bit brain dead. So thus all the politically correct humour Mel Brooks is known for appears.
could you say it's a spoof of the original novel in the sense that
it's not a spoof of the novel, it's a spoof of the Boris Karloff film, the Universal films of the 1930s,
which is based on Frankenstein.
which is based
the fact that the monster turns out to be brain dead and not particularly intelligent and all that kind of stuff, it ends up the opposite to the original novel.
Yes.
It's kind of satirical in a way.
Yeah, parodiocal.
That's the word I'm looking for.
What's funny about this is Mel Brooks, I don't think, has ever been to Romania because it's just Germany. And I think that any chance Mel Brooks gets to make fun of Germany, he will put into a show. It's full of Mel Brooks' predictable jokes. What makes this show great for me is the lyrics and the cast. Not only do we have two British comedy legends, you could say, one quite new, one very, very, dare I say, old, but Leslie Joseph, famous for being in Birds of a Feather and wonderful character actress, is in it. Ross Noble, who is only a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, I was super surprised to see his name attached to this.
Yeah, but he did the producers on tour a couple of years ago, and so he obviously has a close working relationship with that kind of style of show. Plays Igor, or Igor, depending on, how you're feeling. He takes it absolutely seriously. And I was chatting to our lovely friend Dominic McChesney about this, and he said, I hate it when comedians go on to a musical and they do their bit.
Yeah, they can't detach themselves from it. There's like that ego there, and they have to kind of still be themselves. It's like when they it's like when they come on stage, it's like there's that element of it's them, and they have to give the audience them. Whereas I said to you, so how was Ross Noble? Because I think he's sung in his stand-up comedy before, but I didn't know whether he could actually do that sort of thing, and I was really happy to hear you say he was like the standout act, and that's obviously because he was managed to detach himself from it and actually play the character.
I thought Ross Noble, who's quite famous for having a broad Geordie accent, isn't he? I thought he would do it like that, but he didn't. He completely did a Cockney British accent, which was really good. So he wasn't being Ross Noble playing Igor. He is an actor doing it, which is really, really good. And it has, some wonderful comic moments. It's a very physical part. He's always hunched back and his hump keeps moving from side to side and things like that. Very, very enjoyable. Diane Pilkington is in it, famous for various West End roles. We have Summer Strallen.
There has to be a Strallen attached
is in
to
it,
this
beautifully playing Inga. Sutton Foster played the part on Broadway. Hadley Fraser is playing Frederick Frankenstein, and a wonderful, wonderful ensemble.
Dare I ask what the orchestra size was?
The orchestra, I think, it's not listed on this website. It is about 10 players.
That's not bad.
And they weren't visible. So they were completely remote, behind the stage, I think. And it's possibly the best sound I've heard in the West End for a very, very, very long time. Mike Dixon was telling me, because they are in a room, it can be like a studio recording. So I thought they were backing tracks. It was done so well. It's a shame you can't see them, because it's always nice to watch an orchestra.
It's always nice to kind of acknowledge them. But
the conductor came on at the end and waved. For all we know, it could be a backing track, but it's not. The original production was known for having massive sets, and we do have some lovely moments in this. There are pyrotechnics, obviously, when the creature is... Well, I won't say what happens, but when the creature is... all the vaults are being turned on and things... Lots of bangs and sparks and...
It's not a show for Jonathan, then.
No, not a show for Jonathan. But not many bangs, more just silent pyrotechnics, if like fireworks, for example. But they do come into the audience, which is rather exciting. As does the creature at certain points. Because I love the producers so much, and I guess the one criticism I have with the show is that it's like the producers in a parallel universe. A lot of the songs appear at the same point and serve the same...
It's the same formula.
Yeah. So there's a song in it called The Wonders of the Brain or something, which opens the first act, which is exactly like Max Bialystock's first big song in the producers. Then there's a German song called Rolling in the Hay, which is what the German woman sings, who serves the same purpose as the Swedish Inga Vangen Benson Swanson Svensson in the producers. And then you have the putting on the Ritz moment in Act 2, which is the exact same place as Springtime for Hitler in Act 2, and then you have the love ballad which opens Act 2, which is the same as That Face from the producers. So, but it worked, you know. Obviously, the whole thing with Young Frankenstein is they looked at the formula for the producers,
and it works. So why would you mess around with it?
Yeah, but it didn't work on Broadway, which is what's so funny about it.
But it could have been down to other factors, which is why it didn't work. Like you say, the size of it is a big thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a show that works better, smaller.
There's some beautiful moments. There's a shadow dance that the creature does in Putting on the Ritz, which has a nice surprise to it. And there is a very funny blind character. Leslie Joseph has a wonderful song called He Was My Boyfriend. And we are firmly in Kurt Weill and Marlene Dietrich.
That's genius.
Sound here.
Do you think this show, though, works better now, 10 years later, than it did on Broadway because there's this huge revival in retro musicals?
Possibly, and it's a good question. I don't. It's not really known for its retro-ness. It works well because of the vaudeville roots.
Yeah.
So when I say retro, I think 1950s. We're talking, sort of early 20th century style here. The wonky sets and the fact that when the cloths come down, they kind of do it jaggedly. I think that's all on purpose. Or we had a very drunk man running the flies the night I saw it. I think, there is certainly a big retro wave, and we talked about that on the show, which leads me to my question. You're battling a choice at the moment, aren't you, between going to see which shows?
American in Paris or 42nd Street?
Because American Paris has sadly announced its closing.
Which is why I'm thinking of that one.
Even now I'm excited because it means Bat Out of Hell might go to the Dominion. So what are you thinking?
Ideally, I'd like to see them both, and I'm hoping to see them both before Christmas, because I haven't really been to the theatre as much as I'd like this year, although more this year than last year. The last show I saw was The Girls about a week before it closed. So, I would really like to see American in Paris before it closes, because it's really my thing, and I just haven't had time to go.
You're in it.
Stop it. I'm not in it. Nick is referring...
I wonder why you're never around in the evening.
Nick is referring to the fact that apparently I look like Leanne Cope, who plays Lisa. You're not the only person
Which isn't a bad thing at all.
No, it's just the hair. So
you're battling between American in Paris or 42nd Street?
Because they're both retrotastic musicals, which I would absolutely love. It's just... Yeah. I'm hoping to see them both before Christmas, but... Well, I think American in Paris will have to take priority because it's going to close in the new year. That's the reason I'm probably...
What if it tours, though? Because
you're
taking your mother, aren't you?
Yeah, I know, but she's going to be here, so right. I think I don't want to risk it. I can't risk it not touring. I have to see it.
42nd Street is more bedazzling, I will say, and you just sit there going, another tap dance number, whether you like them or not, you will at the end of it. And American in Paris has one tap dance number, and it wasn't as impressive as anything in 42nd Street. But American Paris is then chock full of ballet. And
Gershwin.
Yes.
I like dancing, so, I'm probably going to like either of those musicals. I do love a good tap number, though.
You do.
So... Yeah, I'll have to. Well, like I said, hopefully by Christmas I'll see them both.
The good thing is they're easy to see in the fact that we're not talking Hamilton Book of Mormon prices here. That there are lotteries on Today Tix and things for both of those shows.
The tickets I've seen for American Paris are really reasonable. It's really nice to see some reasonably priced tickets for shows.
Nice to be able to pronounce it as well.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to pronounce it. Which also brings me to the fact that. Not Strictly Musical Theatre, but the E&O have a really nice ticket scheme for the under-29s. Obviously, all the operas are in English, which is quite fun.
Yes.
They're doing The Barber of Seville, which is a comedy. It's Rossini. It's quite accessible. It's very similar to like Mozart operas. So, I think it's something that the listeners might be interested in seeing.
And what's their ticket pricing?
So you can sit in the stalls for £30. When a lot of the tickets are like over £100, that's really good. You can sit in the upper circle for £10 and the circle for £20. And all you need to do is is to sign up to be a member. It's called Access All Arias. Ha ha ha. And if you sign up to it, then you can, when you log into the account and you see the tickets, you can see basically in which tier you want to sit in, where the discounted tickets are. And it's quite good, really, to be honest, because getting to see the opera is, it's expensive. So
you signed up?
Yeah, I signed up.
Yeah.
I want to go see The Barber of Seville, which is on for the rest of October.
The show you said this time last year that you would see in Yorkshire, which you didn't see.
Good to see, yeah.
You will get a chance to see it because it's coming to London, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming. Is it March or April? I think it's coming to I don't know what theatre it's going to.
We're talking about, is it
Strictly Ballroom.
Strictly Ballroom, yes.
Ballroom. One of my favourite films. I could see why. I said to you it will come to London, and it's a good time of year for it to come to London, because especially after Christmas, after all the Strictly fever, it is a story based around ballroom dancing. It is an incredibly fun film. I wonder who's going to be in it though. I bet you there'll be some Strictly Come Dancing stars in it, or something like that. Like Danny Mac, for example, I can imagine.
Danny McGee.
I can imagine him playing the lead role, and he had quite a successful.
I've never seen the film, so I know nothing about it. I will see the musical.
You need to see the film. You need to see the film first before you see the musical.
I will see the musical first. What did you think of the girls?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's one of the best things I've seen in ages. It's such a small, understated show, so you can see why it's not had a long West End run, because I don't think it's necessarily a West End show in the sense that it's not really absolutely spectacular. I think it will suit touring a lot more, but as a show,
especially in Yorkshire,
as a show, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was very, very moving, incredibly funny. I don't think I've actually laughed. I mean, I took my mum to see this. I don't think I've actually laughed as much as I did. And it was the second half. It was the first half was incredibly moving. The second half is absolutely hilarious. I can't even describe how funny that show was. It was an incredible show, and I really hope that it has a successful tour. I think it's opening soon, and there is going to be a cast recording, which is really good.
What do you think of the songs? Needed?
Yeah, I quite liked it. Although I didn't see the play, so I don't actually know how similar this is to the play. Although I liked where the story finished, because it didn't finish in the same place as like the film, for example.
They made it all about, these girls and the story.
And the actual fundraising. I can't actually think of many songs, though, that did stand out. To me, I don't think the music was particularly strong, but it didn't matter.
It works at the time, doesn't it?
It works, and it doesn't. I mean, the opening's really nice. And that's quite catchy. It's quite catchy. And Who Needs a Silent Night's quite fun.
Yes.
And was incredibly sung. But many of the songs in it are quite understated. I can't wait till the cast recording comes out, because I actually might, bring back a few memories of seeing it and actually jog my memory of some of the music that was in the show. But I think it was the book of that musical was really strong, and it was so funny. And
any Yorkshire references I would have missed when I saw it?
Probably. I can't remember.
It's like your dream show, isn't it? It's got baking
Cakes.
And Yorkshire in it.
But not enough tap numbers.
No.
But there's also, there was loads of new stuff in it, because, it's a film that I've seen a lot. It's a film my mum's seen a lot, and there were lines from the film, or like nods to the film in it, which we just looked at each other like, that's a bit for the film. But at the same time, there's also loads of new stuff in it, and just the last 20 minutes of it was just some of the best theatre I've ever seen. The bit where they actually do the photo shoot is some of the funniest things I've ever seen, and it was so nice to see a show centred around women as well. There were male parts in it, and there were men in it. It was so nice to see a musical centred around females, and also women of a certain age.
One critique was that it had too many characters in it.
I don't think so, because there's the main two, and you cared for those main two characters. Obviously, the woman who loses her husband, you do really feel like there's a solo that she has in the first act, and it's so upsetting and moving to watch. The second act is really needed, because the first act is incredibly moving, funny in places, but incredibly moving, and a little bit difficult to watch. And you really do feel sorry for her, and
so she has this idea.
Yeah, but not just the other character has the idea, but you get a really nice idea of their friendship, like you do in the film. And the other girls in it as well, you really root for them, because I think they have things about, like, there is the one woman whose husband is like having an affair or doesn't treat her very nice, and it's how she overcomes that. And then there's, the other character's the one that doesn't want to get a kit off, and she's nervous about the way that her body looks, and she overcomes that. So every character has sort of like a hurdle, or like, something to overcome, and you do end up rooting for each character. But also you feel proud of the group for fundraising collectively as well. So I actually I disagree with that quite a lot.
And it's always in the back of my head when I saw it that this is a true story, which is always lovely.
The sort of town is sort of based on is Skipton. So the in real life, the man that died was actually treated in Skipton Hospital, and that is like the town next door to where I am. So it's like it is properly Yorkshire where I'm from. So I do feel quite close to it in that way.
Your hills aren't made out of cupboards.
No, they're not made out of cupboards. But I did like that set. I thought the set was cool. But also the story is very personal to me for other reasons as well. Like it is incredibly personal to. It's something that means a lot to me.
Would you travel to see it again?
Yeah, I would see it again. I'd see it again if it does tour and it comes to Yorkshire. I think.
Oh, of course it will.
Well, yeah, but like Leeds, where I am, I would definitely watch it.
Even though it started in Lancashire.
I also really loved the fact that some money from the tickets went to Bloodwise, because the man who died originally, the man who died, who the story's based on, died of lymphoma. And Bloodwise basically raises money to fight things like leukemia and lymphoma. And actually money from the tickets actually went to charity, which is really good too.
I wish more shows did that.
Me
Book
too.
of Mormon.
Loads of shows should do that. They should. They could definitely afford it with the price of tickets. And actually the tickets again were super cheap. They were really affordable. I think when we were sat in the upper circle, but I think I paid less than 20 quid. I think it was like 20 quid. That's
Did you get vertigo up there? It's not.
No, it was fine, and the view was good, and I could see the facial expressions on every single actor and all that kind of stuff. It was enjoyable. We didn't need to be sat anywhere different. It was good. It was good price, enjoyable evening. Probably the best night at the theatre I've had in ages. Much better than Carousel.
Oh, there you go.
Out of the productions and enjoyability factor, I have to say that I enjoyed the girls a hell of a lot more.
Well, nice to be back on the show.
Yeah.
How's the time machine going?
The Time Machine, we have done 9 months of the Musical Talk Time Machine on Facebook.
About to have the baby.
Yeah, so full 9 months. We're into our 10th month. We haven't missed a day yet.
No.
So new musical theatre fact every single day.
What's today's?
The Jazz Singer. The Jazz Singer was released in 1927. That is today's fact.
Speaking of Brian Connolly.
Oh yeah, playing Al Jolson.
The day it all started, you could say.
Yeah, you could, I guess. Well, the musical film genre,
Yes.
but not musicals as a thing. You could argue that went all the way back to Mozart, actually.
Yes, so lovely to have you back on. Sorry about no episode last week, but it's a very, very, very busy time for me and you, Tonya. So it's nice to have you back in the clutches of.
I've missed it over the summer.
Yes.
Both of us have been a bit too busy.
I know. It's a shame,
We've got some nice things planned coming up.
We have.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for
You're welcome.
joining us, and we'll see you soon.